when I think about my arousal, what I think about is I'm on the ladder, I've got my foot on the ladder, and my partner is there behind my butt pushing up to get me going, because the ladder rungs get shorter and easier, and then it starts to be little stairs, and then it's an escalator, and you're super turned on, and you've got a massive appetite for even more sex, which is why I like 3-day weekends where you fuck all weekend.
3-day weekends.
Because it just gets better.
Welcome to Swapping Secrets. My name is Jess.
My name is Lawrence.
And if you guys haven't already, please don't forget to spank that subscribe button. Let's jump into today's topic. So today's topic is the new midlife sexual renaissance. That was a mouthful.
So today's episode is talking about midlife and how it used to be framed as a slow fade out of desire, but today it's becoming the opposite. This episode, we're going to be diving into the new sexual renaissance happening for people in their 40s, 50s, and beyond. A stage where confidence grows sharper, pleasure becomes more intentional, and intimacy deepens in ways younger generations rarely expect. We explore how desire evolves with age, what changes in the body and brain, and why many people report the best sex of their life after 40. From the science behind expanding orgasmic capacity to the roles of communication, curiosity, and emotional maturity, this conversation hopefully reframes midlife as a powerful chapter of erotic growth, not decline. We're going to do a little bit of an intro for who we are and then who our guest, Susan Bratton, is in a moment. So a little bit about me. My name is Lawrence. I'm the co-founder of Our Secret Spot, which is a swingers club or
a lifestyle club or
an event space where we hold adult play parties, and been part of the ethical non-monogamy community for 13 or so years, and been through a number of relationships and experienced almost, I feel like, everything that you can experience as in a relationship, in a dynamic like this, from pleasure, obviously, pain, jealousy, excitement, nervousness, shyness, all of that stuff, how it's been dealt with over the years. And the motivating thing for me running Our Secret Spot and being part of this lifestyle is the exploration, the growth you can have as a person and with your partner and other people, and being conscious about how you relate and emote in a relationship, either with your primary partner or whoever else you might be engaging or have an interpersonal relationship with.
And if we can't tell already, Lawrence is definitely the talker out of both of us, but I am Jess, the better half. Kidding, we are both really good halves. Again, a little background, I've done 12 years of this wonderful lifestyle, and now I'm embarking on with my new partner, which has been really exciting because he started from not really doing anything, so it's been a really good reset and adventure time for us. I don't know, I feel like Lawrence touched on everything we kind of are as an establishment and as a business and as a lifestyle advocate.
We're both newish parents. You know, we have we have 2-year-olds, just over 2. So we've experienced all of this dynamic, you know, as couples without children and now with children, and the added dynamic and pressures of parenthood in that mix as well. So
yes,
I feel like we have a fairly wide range of experience, and it does give us just a little bit of authority to speak somewhat sensibly about a lot of these things.
Yes, and we've been doing this wonderful podcast, which we recently changed the name. So it was Our Secret Spot, the podcast, and now we've rebranded and uplift ourselves to Swapping Secrets. But we do this podcast so we can give some people a little bit of an insight, some education, some knowledge on the lifestyle itself, the club itself, which is where we're filming at, and just little tidbits that people maybe have heard or thought about before, but just needed that slight reminder.
Yeah, basically enabling or giving them the language and the permission to have these conversations and not it be a weird thing. And so our guest today is Susan Bratton, globally known as an intimacy expert to millions. But enough from me. I think we would love to hear from Susan, who she is, what she does, and where she's been.
Yeah. Hey, you two. It's great to be on your show. I love to be on ethical non-monogamy shows because one, the people who are your fans are committed to their sexuality. They're committed to lifelong growth. They're very growth mindset oriented people. And that's my favorite group of people to talk to. And I have also been ethically non-monogamous for over 2 decades. So I have a lot of amazing stories and some wisdom of the elders. I'm in my 60s. I
Really?
came to an open relationship in my 40s, my early 40s, when I had a great blossoming of my sexuality. I knew there was more, and boy, did I find it. And I went on through this blossoming of my sexuality to begin to publish passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills. And then I realized that if you really want to go the distance and have your sex life keep getting better, good communication and good skills have to be supported by good sexual health and function. And so I've also kind of become the world's leading sexual biohacker, helping people extend their sex span so that they can extend their health span and their happiness span. Because for every decade you keep having great, satisfying sex, you add literally years onto your health span and happiness span. So those are the 3 things that I really talk about. I've published and have authored 44 books and programs.
Oh my God.
Lots of sex techniques and communication skills. Those are really the core things that I teach. My brand is Better Lover. So you can tell, even the name of my brand, Be a Better Lover, is very growth mindset oriented. And that's why one of my favorite audiences are audiences like yours, because you have listeners and viewers who will apply what they learn and keep getting better, rather than the alternative, which is people who kind of think that sex is just intercourse, and it's kind of like they're just making a baby over and over again, whether they get the baby or not. It's just some fucking and they're done kind of thing, and that gets so boring. Like, you just
It does.
do that all the time. There's so many other things that you can do that are so much fun sexually. And so most of those people, because they don't have any skills, they don't communicate, they don't try new things, they end up just not continuing to have sex. And then they end up following kind of like path B. Our path is path A. Their path is path B.
Yeah.
And path B is they get old, crotchety, grumpy, all of the things that you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You can tell the difference between a really, a person in great shape with good mental acuity who's kind of like living a turned on life versus somebody who just kind of like disintegrates in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And I choose path A along with the 2 of you, Jess and Lawrence. And so I'm really happy to be here today. And I can't wait to talk about anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, go for it.
How exciting. Well, before we dive in deep, I do want to mention, guys, we do a little teaser, a little just the tip. And this one is called, Can You Feel the Difference? Again, I didn't look up the game, so.
There is a blindfold and a mysterious box. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're going to be feeling the difference of things.
I'll tell you guys later.
Yes,
Don't you
tell
worry.
us the difference.
Yeah, I'll tell you the difference, but for now I'm leaving it as a tease because I know you
Okay.
guys love me as a tease.
Before we get into like the talking points that we want to get on, I just want to say, fantastic. You said you're in your 60s. I'm just like, you're lying.
You're lying. First thing you first thought, lying.
So
Thank
kudos
you.
to you.
You know what's interesting about that too, Lawrence? I love the way my body looks better than I've ever loved it.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's right.
a few years ago, probably about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, I took my mother to a couples massage, and I had to help her get undressed, and I had to kind of lift her up on the table. She's much tinier than I am. I'm a giant woman. And I lifted her up on the table and I looked at her body, and she was, 23 years older than I. And I thought, there's not a hell of a lot of difference between her body and my body. And it really made me just appreciate that we're beautiful at every age, especially when we get massive amounts of pleasure out of our body. So do I have some wrinkles? Yeah. Do my boobs hang a little lower? Yeah. But are they more orgasmic than ever? Are my nipple-gasms off the hook? Yeah. So
I like that
I
word,
think that's
nipple-gasm.
Nipple-gasms are the best.
I've not
aren't
heard
they?
that. I'm going to steal that from you. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a learnable skills like all orgasms. There's over 20 kinds of orgasms the body can have. And I've systematically been practicing learning every single one of them and exploring and discovering new ones for decades because I like to be massively multi-orgasmic. I think, sex is great, but sex without orgasms is like, what? One of the things that drives me absolutely nuts is when I watch a podcast with an alleged sexpert who is like, well, don't worry if you don't have orgasms. It's just nice to be close to your partner. And I'm like, bitch, here, that's ridiculous. Tell me you can't have an orgasm without telling me you can't have an orgasm. It's so dumb. It makes me crazy because I really it's like there's one key takeaway here on this entire episode. It's that orgasms are just learned skills. All bodies can do them. There's many pathways to them. And you can just keep getting more orgasmic, having longer orgasms, having more intense orgasms in more different ways as you age.
Yeah.
So key takeaway is keep practicing and learning the paths. And having orgasms, I kind of think about myself as almost like a cookbook author. A cookbook author writes you a recipe step by step. Here, do these things, fold it, blend it, mix it, bake it, whatever, glaze it,
Shake it.
And that's what I do for orgasm techniques. I teach, they're like literally free on my website because I really want people to understand that there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They just haven't, when someone says, I can't orgasm, I say, yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here's how to do it. Follow these
Challenge
steps
accepted.
and you will. Yeah, exactly.
So we touched, you mentioned when you were introducing yourself about like how long you've been in this, in the non-monogamy lifestyle for, and like how things have shifted over time and, your comfort and your acceptance and happiness with your body now. So how does like desire change over time? Why does libido naturally shift? Obviously this is stuff that you talk about a lot, and why aging can deepen pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think about libido, desire, and arousal as three, like a Venn diagram, three interlocking circles with you in the middle. And libido is really your health. It's like how you, like if I'm sick and I'm not in the mood for sex, or if I'm not in the mood for sex, I'm like, oh, you're tired or you're stressed out or you're coming down with something. What's going on? And as soon as I start feeling better, my libido starts coming back. And I just give myself the ebbs and flows of my libido, understanding that sometimes I'm traveling, like I'm here in Lavender Bay. I've been in Australia for 50 days. I spoke at the Sexhibition show in Brisbane, which was fantastic. You guys here in Australia have incredible sexuality talent. Yeah. I mean, my God, your stage acts, your drag shows, your striptease, your everything is so much better here. Oh, you crush that category worldwide. I think maybe Berlin. I'm on my way to Berlin to speak at Sexhibition in or sextech.eu in late May, late June, and I'm looking forward to seeing meeting a lot of the sexual talent in Berlin as well. But I've been all over the country here, and it's just been so nice. My daughter goes to school here. She goes to school in Coffs Harbour. All right. And what's also interesting is I'm here with my husband and my boyfriend. And I had a party in Byron Bay. Don't tell my Airbnb hosts. And it was small, wasn't big. And I literally had a lover who I'd had as a lover here in Australia 14 years ago. And we've, of course, remained friends because I'm friends with all my past lovers. My husband and my boyfriend and my daughter and her boyfriend and some of our friends and my former lover's daughter came too. And we had a family get together. Yeah. And I was literally in that family get together with 3 men that I've been extremely intimate with over many years. And my daughter was super cool about the whole thing. Like, she loves everybody and she's really, really chill with it. She's 28 years old. And I think that that's a very important thing to understand, is that you get good with practice, like everything, orgasms, ethical non-monogamy, helping people understand it and get used to it. And I'm so comfortable and confident in the fact that my body will bounce back, my libido will come back when it's low. My desire can be started from flat out, not even in the mood when I land on the bed, to knowing that the match will catch the flame. And at the end, I'll be like, oh, yes, that was great.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to understanding that my arousal as a female-bodied person is much slower than my male-bodied partners. And we're in this together to really get me going and get me fully aroused and fully engorged, so that everything we do feels incredible and I'm really, really turned on. And we're very patient about that too. Yeah. I don't expect to walk around like a horn dog dude. That's what you guys do that. You get your nighttime erections, you wake up with a hard on if you're healthy, right? And you're pretty much available to us mostly anytime we want you to be, generally. That's a good sign of libido and health. And not that there aren't caveats to everyone, right? Go back to libido. If you're not feeling well, of course, you're not going to be down to have some great sex. But I think understanding that your libido is just a signal of your health. Your desire is how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your partners. And it comes from a foundation of self-worth and feeling that you're enough. And if you don't have desire, or you don't feel desirable, often you've got to go to those core wounds and work those core wounds with a therapist, right? Like, that's a really, really important thing to think about. And then arousal is just understanding that it's a ladder you must climb. And typically female arousal has bigger, harder steps. Like, when I think about my arousal, what I think about is I'm on the ladder, I've got my foot on the ladder, and my partner is there behind my butt pushing up to get me going, because the ladder rungs get shorter and easier. And then it starts to be little stairs, and then it's an escalator, and you're super turned on and you've got a massive appetite for even more sex, which is why I like 3-day weekends where you fuck all weekend.
3-day weekends.
Because it just gets better.
Yeah.
I love that. A 3-day weekend.
Something that I found quite transformative as of late, because, there was a bit of a mismatch in libido timings that I was finding. It's like when my wife and I would be interested or up for sex, and I'd be, if I was like tired at the end of the day or whatever it was, but I been reshaping my thinking to just, it was kind of what you just touched on, is just like it takes sometimes a little bit to get going. But the difference is not lack of consent or it's a no, it's I'm willing. Let's just, like, we could just have to understand it might just take a little bit longer. And then because I know how I feel at the end of it, which is amazing. So it's like, I do want to feel amazing. I'm just not feeling great right now, but let's try and work on this, and obviously vice versa as well. But that was something that was part of the relationship, where I was just like, once I heard someone talk about it in this way, I'm like, I get it. I'm like, that's how I feel, and I think I need to reshape my mindset going in.
Yes, it's exactly right.
Figuratively and literally.
Men often in heterosexual monogamous relationships where shit goes south so fast, men are like, do you want to have sex? And she's like, no. I mean, like, that's just too big an offer. And I teach men how to make much smaller offers. And then I also have a technique called the soulmate embrace, which is a way of holding and being held that allows a woman to kind of get out of her head and all the things she's thinking about simultaneously and relax and get into her body so she can begin to climb the arousal ladder. That's it. I'll just drop links as I go, so people are like, "Oh, I'd like to know that," because I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving things away. So that's at soulmateembrace.com, and it's really nice. You can be like, give this to your husband and be like, "Do this to me. Follow these steps and do this to me."
Yeah.
And it's kind of how you've always wanted to be held, but never really were. And it's as pleasurable for you, the holder, as her, the being helder.
Yeah.
And the other really big thing is yoni massage, giving vulva massages, just laying down and getting your pussy rubbed before you do anything, and having it be a thing where you kind of get on-demand pussy rubs, and you never have to have sex. After the pussy rub, you'll only get it if you want it and you both want it. And then that increases overall more hot sex of all kinds, because there's no expectation,
the pressure
but there's relaxation, connection, and pleasure.
Yeah.
And I also think like one of the things, it touches at just like that ongoing daily flirting and just being, in touch with each other. It's just like, making that small offer. It's just like, I don't know. I'd love to see your boobs or something. I don't know, anything, just say it, just can be cheeky like that, or obviously a little bit more connected. But I'm going to segue into using Flirt. So one of our awesome sponsors is Flirt Adult Stores. Susan, if you want, check them out. They're in the city if you want to go stop by. Or flirtadultstores.com.au. Lots of goodies there, toys, costumes.
They've got stuff for yoni massages, which you mentioned.
Splash blankets.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of different things. Yeah, they're amazing, aren't they? And there's a bunch of like pre-lubricating toys to get you all started. So if your hands are a little bit preoccupied, you could always use a toy. But Flirt have been amazing to us, and they actually give us a discount. So it's a 15% off discount. So it's Secret 15, but it'll be in the little linky below. So for any of our wonderful listeners or any of your listeners, Susan, they can jump on and use that discount and get naughty.
There is a question I want to ask. It's not been here from the notes.
But
we're
going rogue.
It's to do with hormones and all the rest of it here.
Okay.
And especially for women in their 40s and 50s, perimenopause. Have you? What do you have to say about like how that can and does affect intimacy, libido, relationships, and because I'm my wife is going through it at the moment, and it's obviously there's quite a shift going on, and just really both of us are trying to learn while it's happening, and I felt like, man, this really should have been talked about a long time ago, like, because especially for younger women, knowing what's coming, what's likely to happen, and men as well, like knowing what their partners are, their female body partners are going to be going through at some point in their life.
Yeah, so it's a big question. There's a lot to it. So I'm gonna tell you what I do, and I'm not advocating this. I'm just telling you what I do.
Sure.
And, but I have an unfair advantage because I have partners who understand that I'm not going to be walking around horny. Maybe never. I'm busy. Like, I run 2 companies. I travel around the world. I speak from stages. I'm on 100 podcasts a year. I write Substacks and newsletters daily. I mean, like, I'm freaking busy, you guys.
Yep.
And so they have to kind of like make me offers for pleasure and schedule dates with me where we get together and we decide what sounds fun. And once I get there, I always have new and exciting things I want to try. They always have tons of ideas of new and exciting things. So we have a very exciting sex life together.
Yep.
I do a lot of solo dates with them. We have a lot of MFM threesomes together. So we're constantly doing different things. And it's that lifetime learning thing, like trying new things all the time, which is really fun. And that's one of the greatest things about sex is that you never run out of things to do or try. I always joke that if sex were a brand, it would be sex. There's always something more. So if you have that new relationship energy, trying new things, keeping things hot, not expecting to be turned on, just being committed to having pleasure together. That's a big part of what happens for women in perimenopause, which starts at about 38, goes into menopause 48, 52, 54, kind of that zone. That's really the waning of hormones, and primarily estrogen and progesterone begin to drop. Progesterone begins to drop before estrogen. And so the ratios for testosterone actually get higher. But I've been doing hormone replacement. I've been topping up my hormones like I'm a 40-year-old since my 40s.
Mm.
And I still menstruate at 64. I still have my period every month, like clockwork. And I'm just doing an experiment on myself, not recommending this for other people. This is just what I'm doing. I'm still menstruating because your ovarian function is not just reproductive, it's also a master signaling system for longevity. And ultimately, I'm a sexual educator and expert, but I'm very longevity focused. And most of what I do around intimate wellness is keeping the systems going. So I'm one of a handful of women in the world who are in this experimental situation, but I've been topping up my hormones since my 40s.
Yeah.
And I've had no deleterious effects. There's very few problems with a bioidentical hormone replacement.
Yep.
And I highly recommend it for a large variety, a large majority of women. Not all women have access to it. Not all women want to do it. So that's just, if you're interested or open to it, it's worth discussing with your doctor. And when estrogen declines, it begins to thin your tissue. So you know how your grandma had very thin, your grandparents have very thin skin.
Yeah.
Well, the vaginal mucosal lining is essentially internal skin. It's mucosal tissue, which is very much like skin, and it thins as you age. And so the loss of estrogen begins to create urinary tract infections, vaginal dysbiosis, the microbiome gets more sensitive, more delicate. And when you have thinning of tissue, you have loss of lubrication. The vagina is not a lubricating gland. It's not a gland, but it needs blood flow to the pelvic bowl to see through the vaginal mucosal lining to wet the lining. And when the lining is thin, it can't think about a sponge. If you have a thin sponge, it doesn't hold as much as a thick sponge. And that's what vaginal mucosal lining is. It's a thick sponge until you begin to have estrogen loss. And it gets thinner and thinner. And then it gets like you have painful sex. The opening to the vagina, the introital sphincter is what that's called. That gets very thin and it hurts to have a penis or a finger or a toy put in it. And so estrogen is intravaginal estrogen, which is, they say it's non-systemic. You can put it in your vagina and it won't go through the rest of your body. So I use estrogen patch, a little oral estrogen and a little vaginal estrogen. I just do a small combination of each. So I get 3 different methods in my body, keep my estrogen high, but I also take progesterone to balance it. And I also take testosterone, and I have the testosterone compounded in a cream, the shea butter cream from a compounding pharmacy. And I put it right on my clit and my labia. And it keeps my clitoris meaty. Mm-hmm. Your clitoris is literally a mini penis. It's literally has a gland and a shaft and a hood. And then it goes back into your body into little arms and little legs. The legs or vestibular bulbs are underneath each side of the labia, underneath the pubic hair on each side of the opening to the vagina and urinary area. And the arms go back and kind of up toward what we call the G-spot, which is actually another sponge called the urethral sponge. And then the bottom has the perineal sponge. So the vagina is surrounded by erectile tissue, but when it shrinks, vaginal atrophy, then as it shrinks, it can't hold moisture. And if you don't keep your nitric oxide systems topped up, you got to eat your leafy greens and your beetroot. And you can always take a nitric oxide supplement. When you do that, that gets the blood flow down in there, seeps through the lining. You keep that lining nice and plump. You keep that tissue nice and plump. And then all the sponges of your erectile tissue system can get filled with blood. And women have the same amount of erectile tissue in our vulvovaginal system as our male-bodied partners do in their penis. So if you think about a penis, little tiny thing, gets hard, big giant thing comparatively.
Yeah.
And so that whole system is what's wrapped around a vagina. But if it shrinks and it doesn't get full of blood, it doesn't have the surface area to send the signals to your brain through your nervous system, your somatosensory system, to tell you feel pleasure. So your pleasure diminishes. You have you struggle with dryness. You struggle with infections. Vaginal dysbiosis, urinary tract infections, and loss of orgasmic intensity. So how do you fix it? 3 things. The first is take a nitric oxide supplement. Each greens and the beets, take a nitric oxide supplement. Second thing is you can look at acoustic wave technologies. In America, we have Gaines wave for him and her, and that stimulates new tissue growth. You probably have some things that are similar in Australia. And the third thing that you can do is use red light, intravaginal red light, or even apply it on the vulval tissue that stimulates mitochondrial function. So between adding the hormones and doing these biohacking type of things, you can keep that tissue plump and juicy and meaty and orgasmic, and it just stays really, really nice. My vulvovaginal system is much more juicy, plump, erotic, orgasmic, lush, wonderful, responsive in my 60s than it even was in my 30s. So all of the things that I've done to keep it really, it's paid off.
I love that.
I just I want to ask a question. Have you faced any stigma as a woman, going into her 60s for being so, obviously vocal and proud and out there about sexuality when, sometimes I think, it's part of, the rhetoric that you're trying to address is that why does sexual exploration happen is only apparently for the young, and it should be for everyone, especially those who are, as you get older.
Oh my God, yes. I've been called, the things people don't like the most are that I'm older, like men, trolls tear me down, and the trolls tear me down because I'm an older sexual woman. They want me to just go away so they can, be disgusting. And people who are very religious can't stand me. So mostly I get called like a hag, a harlot, a slut, a whore, a Jezebel.
Oh.
Jezebel?
Nice.
What is that?
Yeah, I like that one.
And then you're like, all the dirty
My
talk that I
cold
like.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
And like, I just actually, it was so funny because just on my Instagram, which is my name, Susan Bratton, I just over New Year's posted three images, and I posted some of my most recent troll mail. Warning to Christians, this is satanic and the work of the devil. Oh no, she's got the baby oil. This lady is a psycho. She's perverted. She's annoying and an idiot at the same time. Watch out for her. She's a feminist.
Oh God.
This lady is disturbing. Of course, they spelled the word disturbing wrong.
Yeah.
Satan in women's wear, full of shit. Do not let her infect you with her bias and rhetoric. And I'm like, thank you so much, you guys, for saying all those shitty misspelled things about me.
Yeah. The fact they have the time, you're like, go do something with your lives, guys. Oh my God.
Do you want to talk about
you know what?
Oh,
in the grand
actually,
scheme of things.
Yeah, like you
I just want to say, I want to close that off. I just want to say that I really have a compassionate heart for my detractors and my haters, because I feel bad because they're caught in such a paradigm. And, I don't take it personally, and I really do feel badly for them, but you do you, boo. And I'll be over here having like a million orgasms and a fabulous life, and God love you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's
exactly how I feel. I go, oh dear.
Yeah, like that's the best way to be. And I like stigma is such a big thing. Like everyone sees it as such a bad word, or like, having a stigma. But here in Australia, I'm sure you guys have like a service similar to this, we have Stigma Health. And essentially what Stigma Health is, basically you can get your referral to your pathologist without hitting the GP. So you don't have to go into your GP. You don't have to have that awkward conversation where you want to get your STI checks done. You can just do it all online, which is really efficient and discreet. And fast. Yes, Lawrence and I have both done it just to test it out to see how it goes. And honestly, I did it in the car just before I got out into the pathologist one time. So they're really helpful. But Stigma's actually teamed us up with us to give us another discount. All these discounts coming through our way. They've actually upped our discount recently to 20% off. So making a good saving.
Yeah.
It's the new code is
Secret Spot 20. So you can obviously apply that in the cart. You can multi-buy pathology requests. So if you are in the non-monogamous lifestyle and you do get regularly checked, which we obviously recommend, you can, buy a year's worth or 2 years worth, whatever it is, and then you obviously save even more. So it's awesome that we've they're helping us out. So thank you, Stigma Health.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about Stigma Health?
Of course.
So I'm really glad they're one of your sponsors because in the US, I'm the chief advocacy officer for a company called Pro DX Health, and they have at-home collection kits. So you can buy them, you have them at home, and then, like say you meet someone and you're like, I would really like to be with you. You can just test, send it in, and get the results back in 24 to 48 hours. Everything's done, all the testing's done at home. In Stigma, do you have to go into a lab to get a blood draw?
Yeah.
Okay. So I bet they'll have it coming soon where, you don't even have to go get a blood draw anymore. Because the ones that we have from ProDX are now, they're swab, and there's this little collector. It's called a tasso system, and it's this little thing you put on your arm. It's got a sticky thing on it. It sticks to your arm, you press a button, and it does a little blood draw into a little vial painlessly. And that's what you stick in the box and mail in.
Right.
Nice.
And I really, one of my very favorite things about the consensual non-monogamy crowd is we are the leaders in safe sex and testing protocols. And one of the things that I always do is if I'm going to have a new partner, I have them wait at least 30 days and have no sex with any other person and then get tested and then get the results, because I want to make sure that some of the nasties have an incubation period, but there's still 60-day and even 90-day incubation periods on some STIs. So if we bring somebody new into our pod, then we test at the 30, we all test again. Then we test at the 90 after that as well, just to pick things up. And one of the things that's going around, like especially in Southern California right now, is Mycoplasma genitalium. I don't know what the outbreaks are like here yet on that. Have you been hearing about any outbreaks about that?
No, I was going to ask you what it actually is. Like, I don't think I've heard that.
Yeah. Mycoplasma genitalia is a virus. No, it's a bacteria, and it's a slow growing bacteria. So, and a lot of people think they might have like a vaginal infection or a urinary tract infection, and the doctors won't test. It's called MGen. And the doctors won't test
and
for it.
we've heard of MGen.
Yeah, that is in part of the
Okay, you've heard of it,
schedule.
MGen.
Yeah, MGen. I think we just use different terms, like the different language.
Yeah.
It's the shortened version of, that's just the long versus the
Aussies
short
love
version.
shortening things.
Yeah, so you can get tested for that here too, which is good. That's one of the ones I now include in our standard panel because I think it's a really, really important one to include because it's a sneaky, slow growing, but very pernicious bacteria that is hard to get rid of. And there are two types, and one of them is antibiotic resistant. And so I think it's really good to get tested frequently, no matter what, for all that stuff, because you could have a perfect test and then 6 months, 60 days later, it's like, oh, okay, now it's showing.
Yeah.
So I like Stigma. I'm glad that they're your partner.
Yes.
Thank you, Stigma.
Thank you,
Yes,
Stigma.
we love Stigma Health too. They're great. Okay, so oh my God, I feel like we could sit here for hours and just delve in deep into everything. But let's jump into just a tip. Can you feel the difference? Gabe, do you want to tell us what this game is, please?
I do actually, Jess. I would really love to. I love nothing more to tell you. So, can you feel the difference? It's a mini game. It's a sensation mapping game. A lot of what Susan's been talking to especially is very relevant to what we're about to do. So, you'll notice behind you, Jess, there is, what is that?
A blindfold.
Blindfold. We're going to put that on Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Oh.
Go pop that on. It's a nice bright red one. Actually, it's mine.
It's beautiful. And what we want for you to do, Jess, once Lawrence gets that on, is look at the box there. We don't want Lawrence to see what's in the box. But you'll notice it's next to you on your left. You can take the thing off the box and see what's in there, the contents. Now, the game is that Lawrence is going to hold out his arm. Jess, you're going to make a sensation on his arm with any of those items of your choice. Either the forearm and on the back or the front, whichever is preferred by Lawrence, whichever he gives you consent to use.
Yeah.
And then Lawrence is going to explain what the texture and the feeling, the temperature, whatever it is of the item that's being put onto him with this blindfold on. He can guess at the end what he thinks it is, but Susan, be really helpful to know once Lawrence explains what he's feeling, for you to sort of talk about how nerve endings and all those things you were just talking about, sensations like what's being experienced by Lawrence, can enhance intimacy.
Excellent.
Right.
So let me pick something. I actually don't even know what this is.
Well,
what does it feel like?
I don't know how to explain. It's not cold, it's not warm, it's room temperature. So it's obviously something that's has a range. Hang on, wait. It feels a little bit furry, or it's got some, fabric texture to it. Can you do it again?
Fabric.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
Yeah, how does it make you feel?
It's nice being run up my arm. I keep getting this idea that it's like those lint brushes that are the fabric ones. That's kind of the
pretty good. Do you want to tell him what it is, Jess?
Is it a child's hairbrush?
It is.
Cool.
It's my son's hairbrush.
I was like, I don't own one of these. I don't know what it is. It's a child's hairbrush. With something like that, how would you incorporate that as an intimacy tool, Susan? Or having something with those bristles, like how does that make your skin crawl, or how does that sensation come up?
Sure. Well, your body has all kinds of different cells that send different kinds of signals to your brain, like fantastic amounts of them in your vulva and in your penis, but also all over your body. And so there are things like mechanoreceptors, which like the feeling of stretch, like a penis going into a vagina, for example. There are a lot of mechanoreceptors around the opening to the vagina. There are Pacinian corpuscles that transfer sensory knowledge to your brain. There are Ruffini nerve endings, and that brush is probably tickling a lot of nerve endings and sending that soft signal. But I often think that if you've got a hairbrush, brush somebody's hair. That's a very sensual thing, being petted on the head, being stroked by your hair from the top to the bottom. And often pubic hair as well likes to be, especially on the vulva, likes to be stroked from the top to the bottom. So starting at the mons and stroking down toward the butt cheeks, and then lifting your hand up and stroking again, never kind of stroking against the fur, feels really, really nice. So a brush is a great pleasure tool. Great choice.
Yeah, I do. I actually like it in my hairbrush. Okay, I'm going to choose something else.
Last one.
Yeah. Okay, this one, I don't know if this is what you had planned, but I know what it is, so I'm going to do something different with it.
Oh, well, it's making a blowing sound and blowing air onto me, so I could feel the air running across my skin. It just reminds...
Hold it.
Yeah, wait, what is it? Well, I was going to say, it sounded, felt like, those old spray bottle perfume things, or like an ear syringe or something like that. But it's
I just think
has this got eyes and a
it
head?
does have eyes.
Are these ears?
Yeah.
My son's gonna hate me when he sees these when he's older.
But I was just thinking, because this one you could also use that type of movement or blowing from your mouth as well. It's something that we don't have to always look for a tool to use. We as the human body who is going to give pleasure to someone else can be the tool itself. Right?
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm like, if not, I'm normally a licker. If I lick it, it's mine. So,
Wow.
It's normally how I go with everything. I've licked it, it's mine. Suck it.
Love it.
Thank you again for spending the time today, Susan, to jump on with us. I swear we could probably sit here for hours and just bombard you with questions and get all your wonderful knowledge. But for our listeners who do want to dive in deep and get some more knowledge off you, how do we best find you?
Sure. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Lawrence, for having me. It's really been nice to get to know you. Next time I come back, I'll give you a heads up that I'm coming and we can get together.
Yes.
I'd love to see your place.
We'd love that.
It looks beautiful. Looks like a really fun place to have sex.
Oh, it is a fun place to have sex.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm Susan Bratton, and you can find me at betterlover.com. I have a 2 times a week newsletter. And if there's anything I've said that you have questions about, or anything that you have questions about, you're welcome to reply to any of the emails that I send out 2 a week with my sex tips. And I'll reply to you personally. And I do get a lot of email, which makes me good at what I do. So it's a gift you give me. And betterlover.com. And then on Instagram, I'm Susan Bratton, SUSAN BRATTON, all one word.
Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm
Good
sure. You sure they can find you if they have questions, or if they want to send you some hate messages about it? Then they can be
If you want to call me a
too.
slut or a harlot, feel free.
Yeah, well, look, our amazing podcast producer will also add all your details as well. So any of our listeners or video viewers, they can check it out down in the link below.
Hopefully you enjoyed that, lovely listeners out there, and let us know what you thought about the episode. Send comments. You can do it in Spotify as well now, or on our social medias. DM us on socials. Send a voice message as well. We might even play it on the show if you do. And don't forget, spank, smack, lick if you want to own it.
Lick it.
There's a subscribe button.
Yeah. But yes, thank you guys. And without you guys listening, we can't keep on going. So listen every week, every fortnight. What do we do? Every fortnight. Listen every fortnight, guys. Thanks again. Thank you, Susan.
Thanks, Susan. Stay sexy. We'll see you in the club.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.